Hey, Angelique, Constance, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? We're like, what are you looking at
What are you
over
looking
there?
at? Are you looking at us? You're looking over
Yeah,
here.
I am looking at you guys,
You
but
got
I'm
your
also
notes?
looking over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's me. But yeah, no, you guys, Becca and Camilla, I loved you guys in season one, and I've
Thank you.
already gotten through season two. You
Oh,
guys
yay.
a emotional resonance to the show that is very fascinating, and it's just such a visually immersive show in and of itself.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But I was curious when you guys first got, the idea, the call sheet, and just kind of reading the role, like, did you guys realize the visual undertaking and how emotionally immersive this was actually going to be? I was just really curious.
No.
Do you hear us? We're both like,
100%
no idea. We both come from a world not at all sci-fi. Like, this is not our world. We didn't know what rotoscoping was.
Oh, no idea.
No idea. And I will say that it was a leap of faith. And the reason, I will speak for myself, the reason I took this job is because I love Kate Purdy and Raphael and Bob Waksberg wrote an incredible story. And I've worked with Kate before, so I trusted her, but there was no way to know what it was going to look like. There's no way of knowing because it had never been done.
Right.
So like, as we shot season one, which is almost 5 years ago now, we would wait to like see anything. Like we would finally, like halfway through the season, we were like, can we see anything of what this is?
Like, what do we look like?
Because we were just in a room, in an office like this, like nothing. There's no sets, there's no anything.
And when I first heard it, they're like, they want you to go in, it's animation. And so I read the script. I'm like, oh my God, I love, we got 3 strong Latinx women on one project. Mazel tov. I want to be a part of this. But then the animation part, I was like, seems really real. How are you going to do this animation? And then I basically thought I was saved by the script. That was my touchstone and the quality of actors that we had. I knew Bob Odenkirk was going to play my husband.
And then we had like John Corbett come in and Jeannie Triplehorn.
I mean, just really great actors. And so that was what I had to hold on to. And then it was really just, like you said, a leap of faith while we were shooting the scenes, because all it was tape and
on the floor, like where to move.
Yeah.
Like literally tape on the floor. Like they would be like, this is the end of
your reality,
the hallway.
Yeah.
And here is the door.
Yeah.
And here is the counter. And like, if you went too far in any given direction, they'd say, no, go back, cut, go back. Cause your elbow is now in a wall or things like that. So it's like
season 2, they actually had the shadows of where we should stand. Cause it really, you need some relativity in order to find your place in the space. And having that really actually helped.
That did help.
Yeah,
you're right. Lot. Yeah. Season 2, we got an upgrade. We got to go, we had like a sound stage, but it was like still weirdly bare bones because of COVID. So there was only 8 people ever on set at the time. And our directors and writers and everyone was on Zoom. Yeah. So we were just together.
And sometimes not even together. Like a lot of my scenes were with a dummy head.
Which you would never know because it's so emotional and because it's so immersive and so beautiful.
And we're so brilliant.
But you would never think that it's like shot like that we were not even together in the same room most of the time.
There's Hisco Helsing magic there.
Yeah.
It's just magic.
Paul, you have the next question.
Yeah, well, along those same lines, it's got to be such a gift to do something that's challenging and unique and really, really special. But also, there's no acting school or class that can prepare you for something like what you're talking about. So, in what headspace did you have to put yourself in to prepare to do these emotional things? Yet you're playing, standing on tape and talking to dummy heads and things like that. Just that's pretty unnatural, but you do so well with it.
Well, thank you. And I'll start by just saying, I don't even know this about you, but I'm like a theater girl. So I grew up in theater and I was a musical theater major. I've been doing theater my whole life. So weirdly, the imagination of all of those improv classes and all the movement classes and all the breath work kind of played in very easily. And then this is where I have so much in common with Kate. I'm a deep meditator and I practice Kundalini yoga. So a lot of my practice with that is imaginative and visualization and kind of getting out of my own head. So I think for me, I brought a lot of my Kundalini into this and a lot of my theater, and I would just kind of like breathe and center and just go. It's like this thing, it's like where you just go and again, trust.
Yeah, it's interesting is I don't have that, I don't have a theater background at all. I mean, I'm boots on the ground working is all I've ever done, is all I've ever done. But because I was a dancer and because I understand movement and because I didn't have distractions, I really connected to the character so much that there was a tremendous amount of trust, and I loved it so much. And playing a character like this, that whatever they asked me to do, I mean, there was just season 1 was like, okay, you walk in and you find your daughter, she's committed suicide and she's on the floor, and you're like, what? Okay. And then the next minute, I mean, there's no setups, there's no time in between these intensely emotional moments. We had cast chairs that we never even got a chance to sit in. So you really have to just jump in 100% and go there. You can't even think about it. And I actually think that's the gift, because you can't get in your head too much, because you'll never make it.
I actually think, because we come from a world of like primetime television, our other TV shows, I actually think that more of those shows should incorporate what we do here, because I think it would make the acting better, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of distractions on like normal sets, and there's so much stop and start because your hair and your perfect face and your perfect wardrobe, like there's none of that. So you're just left with the words, yourself, the work, the art, and it becomes very fulfilling in a way that I have not been fulfilled in Hollywood in a long time.
And your acting muscles get super strong because you have nothing else to rely on.
Samuel, you have the next question.
Yeah. This is for both of you guys. So with Becca, the first season, it was kind of like Becca was a very interesting character, but it was almost like she was always playing off of Alma. Alma was always the center of attention, but at the same as that time, you could tell, you could empathize for what was going on with Becca. So moving from there, you start to kind of uncover a little bit about Becca, you know, and then now this season, she's got an awakening, she's got her own powers, but you're starting to see from her point of view, like how she feels about her family. And the dynamic of this show really centers around family on so many different levels. And the other side of that with Camilla, like the first season, she was the mom, she was kind of overbearing. Like you could tell there's a lot of different things that she was dealing with emotionally, because she was scarred traumatically from losing her husband too. And she had to figure out how to make this work. Well, now this season, her husband is there, but it's still a lot, because she still has a lot she hasn't dealt with from her past. And so from you guys' perspective, with your characters evolving and getting to do so much more, you already talked about the expression of how much it is to act and how this is the undertaking for this. But as far as your characters, are you loving how your characters are kind of progressively evolving and getting pushed into a different stratosphere almost? I was curious your perspective on that.
I mean, I think absolutely. It's so rewarding and exciting. I will say we had no idea until the table reads what's going to happen. We're not privy to like what's happening in the season arc. So I'm just so proud of Becca for kind of leaning into her power, becoming a self-asserted woman, speaking up for herself. And I think she does a really good job in season 1 of like compartmentalizing and not wanting to be like Alma and kind of like siding with mom more. And I feel like this season, she's kind of like, well, this is who I am. Like, I can't fight it anymore. And I think that she probably has known about her powers the way I interpret it. And like, she just hasn't ever told anyone, or she doesn't know that other people can see, like there's a world in which there's a little bit of that. So that is interesting to me. And I think that Becca's just kind of finally like, let's do this together for our family, for myself to uncover. And it's a really powerful role. Like, I think season 1, she's a little snarky and like annoying. And like, she's really trying to be, in my opinion, the only way I describe it is she's trying to be like very white and like fit into this stigma of like what it is to be a white woman and like marry the rich guy. And I think season 2, she's a little looser, and you see glimpses of that in season 1 where she like hooks up with the bartender and she's a little messy. And I think she just like leans into that. And you see that like, no one's perfect. We're all effed up. We all have our shit. I keep wanting to swear. We all have our stuff. And I think that that's what makes season 2 so colorful and
Right.
yummy for
Right.
Becca.
I think for Camilla, we get into, I feel so much compassion, and I thank Kate for exploring the history of what happened to Camilla and how much she has endured and felt and survived, and the damage that just life coming at her, family coming at her, has made her. Like I have a compassionate point of view about her, whereas maybe season 1, I might have judged her because I don't understand. And I think that is the greatest gift, is for her to explore her history. And I thought about it, and actually just kind of came to me now. One of the greatest gifts I think that younger generations have is that they have less stigma about shame and being closed off to what historical generations would be shaming and scarring, and we had to hide everything. And the gift of, it's so funny, it makes me emotional, the gift of her daughters going backwards to help her heal and explore her own pain so she can heal. If we can translate the awareness of that and what future generations can do for older generations, psychologically, emotionally, and historically repairing some of history. If this show touches people that way, I think this show is so important for that reason.
Paul, you have the next question.
Well said. Wow. And, on those same notes, you both have had such interesting and really amazing careers, and just such a wide variety of work. And this is just, I don't know, it's on a different level, and it makes people think. And that's the beautiful thing about art, when it can do that. And so what would you say to those that are looking up to you and seeing what you do right now and go, that's what I want to do?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. What
would you,
future generations who want to participate?
like kids who are watching this, or young people?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
what advice would you give them? Because you've set such a great example.
That's so nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I would, for this show in particular, the mental health aspect of it, I think I would want to have people feel seen and feel safe. And I would tell future generations or younger kids, or anybody who's don't be so afraid to be who you are. There's lots of space to be filled in society, and there doesn't have to be so much shame about everything, because we're all human. We all have so much baggage. And as far as Latinx representation, I think take up space. You deserve to take up space.
Like stop hiding. Like
Yeah.
we all kind of we share that, where it's like you feel like we don't deserve it or something. And I would say people of color in general, just to take up space and be heard and demand it. And I would say if there's actors or people who are creatives watching this show, if anything, it shows you, like, if you work hard enough and just kind of stay consistent in your craft, whether it be animation, writing, whatever, like it can be mind-blowing, mind-bending, really expansive work. And like what you think is just playing in a play or something can lead like so far if you just stay consistent, I think, in your craft. And I think this is a really great example of that from all of our, between Hisco and Raphael and Kate and ourselves as actors. Like, we've all been at this a long time.
Yeah.
I never in a million years would have thought a show like this would have come into my plate. And I'm just like so excited that I have that we have had I don't know what the word is, because I feel wherewithal, but it's like, don't be afraid, take a chance. Cause when we first got the script 5 years ago, how would we know it would be this thing?
Yeah.
So it's like, if it feels good, trust your intuition, keep going, just say yes.
Right.
And take the chance, because you never know what's going to happen. And this show, I think, is that in a nutshell. Take a chance and just do it.
If I could talk to my past self as a child, I would say, oh, you don't even know the amazing things that are going to come your way. I know you're insecure and you don't feel good enough and you're afraid that you're not qualified and so many things, but it doesn't matter. Life is messy. And if you hang in there, amazing things will happen
That
for
just
you.
makes me cry. That just made me cry because it's so true.
Yeah.
It is,
Well, that
and
is
it's
all
so
the time that we
beautifully
have for
said.
this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for some great questions,
Yeah, I
guys.
really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Yeah,